but they all get the chiropractic exam first. So for me, I walk into the room, my staff has already done some of the initial assessment. I do a very thorough neurological and orthopedic exam. Then I tell them, I just did the orthopedic and neurological exam, now I want to do the chiropractic part of the exam. I palpate their spine, and I'm explaining what I'm finding as I'm adjusting them, telling them what those nerves go to. Again, I'm trying to open up their vision of what chiropractic is about. You know, they might have not even told me that they have asthma, and I'm palpating their mid-thoracics, and I say, the nerves from here, they control your lungs. Do you have any problems breathing? Oh yeah, I forgot to tell Tanya when she did my consultation, I have asthma problems. So, but they all get that thorough exam, and I think that's important. If for no other reason, because again, it opens up their mind, it sets the stage, it helps you from a safety standpoint. But the main thing is that I can go in the room and I can do my exam, and I'm in and out of the room in 15, 20 minutes, okay? And then I'm on to adjusting patients and turn on the power. It's important, I think, like Dr. Matt said, I have, Dr. Hill, I'm sorry, I have a lot of pregnant patients, a lot of children I take care of. We have a pretty big wellness practice, but I would say when people come in, I'm assuming they're gonna get a thorough exam and then I'm gonna take x-rays of their spine, okay? Now, there's a lot of, obviously I don't do that on pregnant women, I don't do that on children, but other than those two groups, most patients, if they have a chronic subluxation, I wanna see what's going on. So I would encourage you, as chiropractors, when you start to get out and practice and people bring in their films from the hospital and they bring in literally like they can carry, barely carry them. Of course now they put them on a disc, but when I was first in practice and they were actually films, they don't care about lighting those patients up and shooting like 100 x-rays. So if I take, A to P in a lateral view of their spine, I'm not doing a lot of radiation. But there's so many times over the years that that was really, really important. I always tell patients that I explain to them what I found, explain to them what a subluxation is. I tell them, I'm gonna recommend we take some x-rays because I wanna confirm what I'm feeling with my hands. I wanna make sure, and I wanna be able to give you the best specific care that I can. And so those x-rays are gonna help me do that. So I think that's really, really important. So when you're in doubt, do x-rays or order imaging, request previous imaging they've had done. You want to get all the information, okay? The last thing when it comes to simplify, and I thought it was interesting that Dr. Hill mentioned this is the way his practice runs, is that cash is king, okay? So from a financial standpoint, I would highly recommend that you not play the insurance game. I mean, if you really want to do that, if you're doing a lot of therapy or you're doing a lot of those kind of things you can build through insurance, but there really is no need for it. It's so much easier to just charge cash, have a wellness kind of a practice, charge a fair fee, so people can afford your care and bring their families in. But as chiropractors, we deserve to be rewarded for what we do. I mean, we have this poverty complex sometimes as chiropractors, like we're, the redheaded stepchildren of the medical profession. So you need to have some, I'm gonna talk about that in a second, about being the doctor, but part of that is that you should be paid a fair fee for the service you provide. You're literally changing lives and turning on the power. And it's just, when you're starting off with cash is just so much easier. I want to kind of shift into now talking about amplify. And I mentioned about people will respond to the love in your heart. People also really, really respond to just who you are and your confidence. The late, great Dr. Fred Barge. Have any of you ever seen like videos of Dr. Barge speaking? Nobody? Oh my gosh. So when we leave today, go to Google, YouTube Dr. Fred Barge. He had a presence about him. Like his voice was booming and he would almost yell at the audience, and he was almost what I would call flamboyant in the way he dressed. Like he was always the best dressed person in the room. And one of his sayings that stuck with me when he would come to Palmer. See, I was in school back when some of those, what I would call the late great, pioneers would come back to campus, which was awesome. And one of his sayings was he would say, "Be the doctor, doctor." And what he meant was that we need to have pride that we're chiropractors. It's not that you introduce yourself and you say, I'm Mark Lindholm, I'm a chiropractor. No, I'm Dr. Mark Lindholm, I'm a chiropractor. It's nice to meet you. We should have confidence in who we are. Now, having hindsight after 26 years and the thousands of patients that I've been able to benefit as a chiropractor, it's a little easier to have that confidence. Sometimes, you have to just muster that up when you're a new grad, but you should be confident. You are going to be members, or those of you that are already doctors, you are members of the best profession in the world. You know? Think about it. We get to put our hands on God's creation every day. People come in to see me when they're trying to get pregnant. They come in to see me when they're expecting their first child. They put their newborn baby in my hands and allow me to adjust it. Like, that is awe-inspiring to me. Like, I almost cry every day when I go into the clinic. That's how passionate I am about it. And you should be the same way, all right? And from a financial standpoint, chiropractors, like I said, should be financially successful. That's how our profession is going to grow. We should be the profession that people look up to, okay? So from a business standpoint, being a chiropractor, having that DC degree is like having a winning lottery ticket, but all you have to do is go to the office every day and collect the dividends, okay? All you have to do is show up and adjust people, all right? So be the doctor. And it's also important to have faith, confidence, and belief in your products, services, and ideas. That's not my line. You might recognize that. That's from Dr. Jim Parker. So faith, confidence, and belief in your products, services, and ideas. In other words, however you decide to run your practice, because it's great that there's a lot of different ways to run a chiropractic clinic. But whatever you do, you should make sure you really believe it and you really think that it has value, and then project that faith, confidence, and belief to your patients or to your community, because that's really going to resonate with them. So the next thing is that I think it's important to have that you merge, and Dr. Hill talked a little bit about this, that when you're trying to build your practice and you're trying to amplify your practice, that where the real sweet spot is when your passion and your profession merge. So, for example, if you're not a big sports guy, then I wouldn't try to build your practice by volunteering at the local high school, the local Little League, to take care of athletes, okay? If you don't really like kids because they're snotty and they poop their diapers and they cry, then don't, decide to build a lot of referral relationships with the midwives, okay? So it should be where your passion is. There's so many different things we can do in chiropractic, okay? So build your practice on purpose, okay? So it's when your passion and your profession merge that really the beauty happens in growing your practice, because you're already confident and excited about that aspect of your practice, okay? And that might change. Over the years, that's kind of changed for me a little bit, depending on where I am in life. I have 4 wonderful children. That kind of changed my perspective in practice. I completely agree with Dr. Hill. When you have kids, it changes your life. But then there's so many other things that have happened in my life, like my CBD book and some of those things that have really kind of changed my focus, because I believe we're called to be chiropractors. I think I was chosen to be a chiropractor. I think Dr. Hill was chosen to be a chiropractor. I don't want to go into my whole story because I don't have time, but a woman chiropractor, yay for women chiropractors, literally changed my life when I was 5, and that's all I've ever wanted to do, is be a chiropractor. Okay, so as kind of a part of that, of your passion and your career merging, is that there's this old concept that the more people you meet, the more people you treat. Okay, and that doesn't necessarily mean, not that social media is all bad, but it doesn't mean for your generation that you're meeting them online. Okay, I'm talking about actually shaking their hand and meeting them. So one of the best things you can do to grow your practice when you get out in practice is just to get involved in your community. Again, pick something you're passionate about, but get out there. And you know what? A lot of times we just need to get out of our own way. We worry like, well, what will they think of me? Who gives a damn? Really, seriously, it's more important. Our mission is more important than what they think of you. Because you know what? I always think about I'm gonna tell them what I think, I'm gonna tell them the chiropractic story, and if they're not interested, then you know what I'm thinking next? I'm thinking, who's next? It's like a burning building. If I'm a fireman and I run into the burning building and there's 100 people, and I know that time is urgent, I have to get them out of the building, I'm gonna run up to somebody, and if they don't wanna get out of the building, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna say, I'm sorry, I'm going on to the next guy, because I have 100 people I have to save. That's the kind of passion we should have as chiropractors. And that's why, there's this old quote, anybody know who Zig Ziglar is? Okay, if you haven't read any of his books, you need to do that, or download into audio and make your car a a learning environment and listen to audiobooks. So a Zig Ziglar quote I love is that you don't have to be perfect to start, but you have to start to be perfect. All right, so there's a lot of wisdom in that statement. 90% of success is just showing up, just being out there. You don't have to know everything to get started. Okay? So the more people you meet, the more people you treat. So from a very practical standpoint, kind of like I demonstrated my initial visit, I want to talk about something that we call the golden visit at our clinic. Okay, so I'm going to call Sarah back up. We're going to role play something here for you. So I was going to have an adjusting table here and show you an adjustment too, but I guess we're not allowed to do that here. So we're gonna pretend. So what we're going to pretend is that I'm coming in the room. This is just a regular visit. So again, part of Simplify at my clinic is that once the patient is already established they're coming in for part of their treatment plan, Sarah would be laying down on the table. She'd have her extra jacket off. She'd have jewelry out of her pockets. She'd be laying down on the table ready for me to come in and talk to her and adjust her. Okay, because I don't want to wait 5 minutes for her to get ready to be adjusted. Okay, so let's pretend this is a regular visit. I'm coming in. I've been treating her for like a month or so. So hey, Sarah, it's nice to see you. Happy Tuesday.
Hi, happy Tuesday.
How have you been since I saw you last?
Pretty great. Yeah, I've been sleeping really well. My back is feeling better. My digestion is like going really well.
Awesome.
So yeah.
So like you had a good PM.
Oh yeah, my boobs have been really great.
So we might have rehearsed that ahead of time. You'll hear that stuff from patients all the time, like, whoa, doc, I took the best bowel minute anyway. So they'll tell you that stuff all the time. My menstrual cramps are gone, you know, and I have open adjusting, so everybody in the waiting room hears them like, yeah, Dr. Lindholm, my menstrual cramps are gone. So anyway, so what a lot of chiropractors do is like, okay, lay down on the table, let's get you adjusted.